Hi everybody, Eddie Slabb here. So, we got a couple of days in here. This is my third day at lifting weights and back at lifting weights, I should say. Things are feeling really good. So, I've got a really simple program. I'm going to talk about that one later, but it's basically just multi-joint exercises, lots of lifts, variety of lifts, movements, but nothing crazy. A lot of shoulder stuff, lots of leg and back stuff. You know, the sort of thing you'd want if you had to move a couch upstairs, that sort of thing. It's no bodybuilding program. I ain't doing the isolation curls or whatever. But was talking to a friend of mine who ain't never been into weights and all that stuff, and I said, well, you got any questions? Because I'm doing this crazy YouTube thing, and maybe people have got questions for me. And my comment section is limited. So, questions he asked me. Number one is, what is the appropriate amount of weight? How do you know that you're using an appropriate weight? You use too little, you ain't doing much. You use too much, you're gonna hurt yourself. And business I'm in, I help people get better. And I always find people hurting themselves as soon as there's the workout of the day that comes in. You know, people get into CrossFit, they hurt themselves. People get into, they decide they're 35 and they're gonna play volleyball for the first time since high school, they get hurt. This is where weightlifting is really beneficial if done properly, is you strengthen your bones, your ligaments, and your tendons as much as you do actual muscle. What people think of as like a muscle, you strengthen structure, right? So you give yourself a good athletic foundation. With that said, what's the right amount of number? If you're starting in, you're probably looking at somewhere between, so reps is like how many times you do a movement, okay? Sets is how many times you do that group of movements. So if I'm doing 8 to 12 reps for 3 sets, great. That's kind of your working weight, right? That will help you build a good strength. If you cannot do 8, drop the weight. If you can do more than 12, you could lift this weight all day long, it ain't gonna bother you. Put something more on the bar, get something heavier, lift your friends, okay? So that's a good guideline for a beginner. Most of when I was training, when I was younger, it was 5 and 5. So 5 sets, 5 reps, and bone-crushingly, like mind-blowingly heavy weights, right? Like as heavy as I could do. The reason is because I already had that strength in the structure that I needed to add on more like bone-crushing power, okay? But that's advanced work. You get to that after about 3-4 months of doing 8 to 12, at least 2 to 3 working weight sets. There's lots of ways to find success in weightlifting, but generally speaking, multi-joint movements are better. Isolation movements are good for certain muscle groups. I got to rehabilitate something, very useful. But if I'm looking at improving my athletic performance or overall fitness, my ability to be fit for the activities that I'm doing, then you want to have multi-joint movements, squats, your deadlifts, your rows, your overhead press, your bench press, upright pulls, high pulls, right? Your cleans, if you're doing kettlebell work, that's useful. Stuff like that, okay? So that's the magic number there. If you can do more than 12, add weight to the bar. If you cannot do 8 and you're a beginner, lower it. You're not proving nothing to nobody, okay? Second question he had is equipment, right? I'm fortunate. I invested in my weights a long time ago and got it for like about 75 cents a dollar a pound. And I've had the same barbell now for 20 years, if you can imagine that. I got lifted more often, but I've had the same one. But you can go to a garage sale and you can get plastic weights that are filled with cement, usually for like $15 for the whole set of 150 pounds. So do you get better quality with more money spent in? Not necessarily. Depends what you'll actually use. When I was broke, when I ain't got no money, I had this cement set that every high school kid has. Okay, and I lifted that diligently until I wanted to invest money into buying proper equipment. It's kind of like tools, I think. You don't want to buy the top of the line, okay, because you're overbuying for what you need. I do not need rubber bumper plates for what I'm doing in here. No, forget it. I lift at home. I ain't competing in Olympic lifting. What do I need a, $100 35-pound plate for? Nothing. I don't need it for nothing. I don't even know what they cost right now. Sorry, kids can tell you. But you don't want to buy the bottom of the barrel. Conversely, because there's other limitations. The plastic weights take up way more space, right? They're not balanced, so when you're doing things that require a bit of finesse, they don't go smoothly. But you can buy decent metal plates for cheap. I would recommend an Olympic bar for any gentlemen who are lifting, because the bar weighs 45 pounds. It's a good start for almost every lift a fellow's gonna do. For the ladies, it's up to you. I don't know. There's lots of strong ladies out there, so more power to you, sisters. Do it, right? The other thing that comes to mind is Johnny Ives, okay, who worked for Apple Computers, did lots of design for them. And somebody said, well, you got these fancy pants Apple Computers, Johnny. Why? You got this beige box under the desk that does the same thing. And Mr. Ives responded with something along, paraphrasing, I am not Johnny Ives, along the lines of, good design makes you want to use a product. Okay, so for example here, I've got this guy, it's green, my kids love it. They will lift this all day long. Okay? This is my 30s. I don't know if you've seen these guys. I custom painted this. Okay? I bleached all of the rust off of this. I got it used, bleached all the rust off of it with vinegar, painted it up with this nice paint, did this in black, did the number in white. This is my favorite weight. I don't know how often I use 30s for anything, but it looks cool, man. It's fun. So I hope that answers the question as to equipment. Buy in the middle if you can't afford it. If you can't afford it, work with what you can. And it's like anything. Don't overbuy. Buy what you need, okay? Especially nowadays, huh? All right. Oh, and another thing I want to point out here. Hold on. So I'm going to see if I can get this closer to the camera here. Corrosion. Uh-oh. So I ain't bothered none by a little bit of corrosion. This is the result of having this thing in the, you can see a couple bips and bobs there in the chrome. It don't matter. This is steel. It don't care. Okay? And I ain't exactly a pretty boy. I don't care if it's not perfect. Life ain't perfect, kids. But if that is disadvantageous to you, then you don't want to work outside with these things. You want to keep them away from rust. You can oil a bar once in a while. That'll keep the amount of, you just use WD-40 and a paper towel or a rag. Just go over the surface. That'll push out some of the moisture to help prevent corrosion. You can do that. I never have. You know, my idea of maintenance is cleaning the gym, dusting, sweeping is good. But I ain't gonna run around with WD-40 and a shop rag. For me, that's just not the real world. If you got time for it, more power to you. That's great. He asked about diet. I would say that I am the last person who should be advising anyone on diet because I enjoy a wide array, plethora of dishes and delights. But if you have a look, everyone's got their own thing. My surprise is the Canadian food guide, man. I don't know what it is about Canadians. The Canadian food guide comes out and everyone up here is talking about, oh, did you see the new Canadian food guide? Isn't that exciting? Isn't that great? You know, it's how desperate people are here in this country to get along with each other. They actually can talk about something that's not a political issue, like the Canada Food Guide, and agree that it's a really good document. It's great. Canada Food Guide is so well done. I cannot recommend it enough because it breaks down your dish as kind of half vegetation, half starches, 1/4 starches, and 1/4 protein. And that's about as good as you're going to get. You need your fiber, keeps everything moving along, holds water, helps you to clean out the caboose, and you got more water-soluble nutrients if you're eating more vegetation. That's a good thing for you. Starches. My son will not eat potatoes to save his life. He hates the potato. Okay? My daughter ain't a fan of rice. So it doesn't really matter what they're getting energy from, whether it's rice or potatoes or bread. It's all starches. It's all good energy for kids to run around on, good for me to lift weights with. You gotta have gas in the tank. Okay? Protein rebuilds every cell in your body, from your brain to your bunions, right? You need all of that. So, reasonable amount of protein. I ain't a big fan of people going on crazy things. You know, I'm eating only meat, I'm eating only vegetables. Like, look at our teeth, man. These are not the teeth of an ox. I am not designed for eating only grasses. Conversely, I don't have like a sharp incisor here. I ain't meant to be chasing down a deer and biting its neck off. Okay? We're somewhere in the middle. We're omnivorous if you look at our biology, huh? Alright. And I think I'm going to do another video about weights altogether, but that's kind of his warm-up questions he had. 2 to 3 times a week. Each exercise you're doing, of which you should have maybe 5. 2 sets, 8 to 12 reps. Equipment, whatever you have, you will not go wrong. Okay? Some work is better than no work. I look at people in different sports. There's people who condition themselves with nothing but body weight, squats, push-ups, sit-ups, and there's people who are, do nothing but heavy weights. Whatever, man, it's their engine. You can have a truck or you can have a sports car, right? You can have any sort of vehicle. They will all get you to a better place. All right. Hope everybody's having a good day. And if you do have other questions, please fire them away. I've got 11 subscribers now. That's exciting. That kind of makes my day, huh? But you guys have a great day. Take care of what's important to you. Take care of your health. And I'll see you soon.